Hi, Leniss. Or is it Leniss? I'm thinking it's Leniss. Professor Ball here. How's it going? For papers this semester, sometimes I will do the inserted comments and sometimes I'll do video comments. And today you get a video comment on paper number 2, which is on your TED Talk. So I'm going to read through this and go over your paper with you right now. All right, so it's all in your head. Good. Check the rules of capitalization. So probably capital A, capital Y, capital H. All right. Removing the content does not remove the issue. Social media can be bad for people, who, social media can be bad for people who care, not cares, what others think about them in their posts, photos, and more things that they tend to share on social media. Negative comments, videos, pictures from others with a good-looking something can affect people's mental health and can have consequences as well. Anything they do now in real time is worthy critical observation because almost 100% of the population in this world is active on social media. All right, so you have some background here. That's good. You get a little more specific when you introduce Bailey Parnell. According to Bailey Parnell in the TED Talk, is social media hurting your mental health? And the punctuation almost always goes inside the quotation marks. She uses her credibility as a researcher and worker in social marketing into this topic to convince the audience that social media might hurt your mental health, the unintended consequences social medias have on your mental health. So check the prep choice. Is this the one? Pre-PC? Prep choice. Is it in your mental health or on your mental health? So Parnell uses personal experiences, visuals, and data in her presentation to prove her argument. So you're off to a good start. According to this, you're going to use personal experiences first, then visuals, and then data. The last couple of years, humans have been considered as addicted to their devices, leading them to check their phone every 10 minutes or even less. Not a big deal here, but just check number usage. At the beginning of her presentation, Parnell states her argument by talking about her personal experiences. So you have personal experiences here, and you have it there. She mentions, and because this is a quotation, quotation marks, my sister and I took a 4-day vacation to Jasper, Alberta. I was going dark. I was turning on airplane mode, no mail, and no social media. I was still experiencing phantom vibration syndrome. That is when you think your phone went off and you check it and it didn't. I was checking incessantly. I was seeing those gorgeous sights Jasper had to offer, and my first reaction was to take out my phone and post it on social media. All right, so you have the right idea here. When you have a longer quotation, you add an extra space, but what you need to do is tab over once so it's in a little box. So go to the Purdue OWL and type in longer quotations or quotations for your error log, and that's one thing you want to fix. And you don't need this for this paper. This is significant because it demonstrates how important is social media for people now in these times. People cannot go out without posting where they are or share photos of what they eat. Instead of enjoying where they travel or what they're doing with friends or family, they prefer to post it on social media and lose their minds on the phone waiting for any comment or message about the post. So this is good. You have your point, which is personal experiences. Then you have your illustration, and then you have this is significant. So that's good. Parnell uses some data. So think about what type of transition you could add here. Parnell uses some data to support her ideas about this issue, why social media might harm your mental health. And in a quotation, it's fine. Be careful of the word. I don't know why that's there. Yes, let's see. Be careful of the word you and your because you are talking directly to me. And while you do want to have that connection to the reader, you may alienate somebody. And if it comes up again, I'll give you an example of that. All right. Based on the data that she illustrates on her presentation, she mentioned that the Center for Collegiate Mental Health, this is probably capitalization because it's a proper name, found the top 3 diagnoses, which are anxiety, depression, and stress. This is caused because of the social media. Will people watch or comment that affects mental health? Sorry about this. I got to turn off my ring, unless you want to see my doorstep here. Hold on 1 second. Okay. All right. In some cases, this diagnosis could cause the death of many people. However, it should also give percentages of people who are active on social media, such as 90% of 18 to 29-year-olds are on social media, and 70% of the Canadian population are on social media as well. Saying this, all these percentages determine that people can spend 2 hours on social media. They do not even eat during that time because they are very focused on what they are doing or watching on their phones. So good. And just a little brief mention of numbers here. And your last point will be, okay. So you did experiences and data, and you probably going to talk about visuals now. Hold on. Okay. So you're not. So as it's been mentioned, or as it has been mentioned, Parnell has worked, so verb tense, has worked in social marketing for a long time, comma, so she is very skilled on this topic. The way she supports her ideas is by discussing about the four most common stressors on social media that have potential to become full-blown mental health issues. Okay, that's fine. Nicely written. This is a way she supports her ideas. So she explains the four most common stressors. She introduces the four most common stressors. So keep that in mind for your error log, because you'll want to add that to fix. They are known as highlight reel, social currency, fear of missing out, and online harassment. Nevertheless, the worst stressor is online harassment. Parnell claims, good use of the quotation, 40% of adults have experienced online harassment, 73% have witnessed it, and unfortunately, reality is that it's much worse and more likely if you're a woman or person of color. Okay? This is important to know because, comma, as a society, comma, we should treat everyone equal and respect as well. Okay, so if you are on social media, and this is an example that I was going to mention earlier with the you, is when you use the word you, you're trying to make a connection with your audience, which is okay. But I had a student years ago in an English 114 start her paper off with, do you remember the first time you got your period? And I was in a small group with my students, and I know where she was going with this, because what she was talking about was it's something that every girl remembers because it's a big moment in women's lives, right? But there were 3 or 4 men in the group too. So she was reading her paper out loud, and when she was done reading, we were talking, and I said, hey, Joe, do you remember the first time you got your period? And he kind of looked at me, and I'm like, hey, Jose, do you remember the first time you got your period? So when you use the word you could also be alienating the reader. So what you want to think about is other ways to say it. So, for example, if people are on social media, it is recommended to not comment or post on something that might offend or tease. People, Americans, social media addicts, things like that. Tweeters, I don't know. Something along those lines. Just be careful of the you. Discrimination, it's a big issue that happens mostly in teens of color. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous how people tend to harass others because of their skin color and also their appearance. Finally, the speaker shows visuals. Okay, so visuals came up next. Visuals, I think, was before data. Okay, so if you're going to go personal experiences, visuals, and data, that's how it should go. But you reverse this and did data first. And you also forgot the 4 stressors. So that's one way to correct your thesis statement. All right. The visuals are related to online harassment where folks took their lives because they cannot stand the bullying. She provided some examples. Teens who were bullying victims and now they are dead because they couldn't bear how aggressors made fun of them. Social media is either good or bad, probably comma, and then it is just the most recent tool we use to do what we've always done, communicate with others around the world and tell stories. But practicing safe social media is a good start to prevent more cases referred to mental health issues. Once Bailey Parnell presented the controversial causes of mental health, she points out how to recognize this topic. People can stop frustrating themselves by getting help, avoiding aggressors, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I got it. I don't mean blah, blah, blah. I mean, okay, I understand. I'm just jumping here to make sure that this matches up with the rest of the paper. And you do mention her personal experiences, but here you'd also talk about the data or the visuals or those 4 stressors. So on the whole, you do respond well to the assignment, which is good. Your works cited, this here should be centered, and then it would be Parnell, comma, Bailey, period. TED Talks would be italicized. And then the second and third line would be tabbed over once. And there are handouts on the prompt, where the prompt is, that goes over that. So nicely done. Use these comments for your next error log and for paper number 3. And let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.